What's going on, y'all? It's your girl, Boost Boswell, coming to you with the bottom line. Taking you back to my home state of Ohio. Found out about this verdict just recently out of Cleveland where a young lady was sentenced. Let me get into it. It's a teachable moment. According to information obtained on WKYC, this was not reckless driving. This was murder. Mackenzie Sherilla found guilty in deadly Strongville crash. Strongville is a city outside of Cleveland. She was found guilty of all charges against her, including 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, and 2 counts of aggravated vehicular assault. Guilty on all counts. This was not a reckless driving. This was murder, said Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Judge Nancy Margaret Russo moments before announcing her decision in the bench trial Monday afternoon. The case that dates back to Sunday, July 31st, 2022, when Strongville police say the crash happened at 6:15 a.m. near the intersection of Progress and Alameda. Upon their arrival, officers say they located a Toyota Camry with severe damage and full airbag deployments. All 3 occupants inside the vehicle, including Sherilla, were unconscious, not breathing, and trapped inside the vehicle. Russo, Sherilla's boyfriend, and Flanagan were both pronounced dead at the scene. The video clearly shows the purpose and intent of the defendant, Judge Russo said when announcing her verdict. She chose a course of death and destruction that day. We streamed the entire verdict announcement, which you guys are going to see at the end of this video. Make sure you watch it to the end. The way that the judge comes out and outlines this verdict is just straight to the point, and she ain't playing with it. Judge Russo said Sherilla, who was 17 at the time of the crash, had a mission and executed it with precision. She morphed from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street, increasing the speed that ultimately killed those 2 gentlemen. The prosecutor's point in case was that Sherilla crashed the car to end her toxic and tumultuous relationship with Russo. We put plenty of that sort of evidence in front of the judge, said Tim Thropp of the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office on Monday. There is no doubt that this happened because of a relationship with demonic, and the defendant's intent was clearly to end that, and she took everybody that was in the car with her. As for Flanagan, Thropp said he got in the wrong car seat. That's the boyfriend's friend. That's unfortunately. And why I want to bring this forth is because a lot of these young people deal with their emotions differently. They are very troubled in the aspect of the way that society has developed when they was born. This young lady is a Gen Z, and she made the decision, allegedly, from what I'm reading. Well, it ain't alleged now because she's guilty per state law. Take matters in her own hand and take somebody's life, not only her boyfriend's life from a toxic relationship, but also his friend. She made a decision that day that she was going to take her life, and she was taking them with her. And when you look at this video, you'll see in the beginning of the judge speaking that the young lady did not think, in my opinion, that she was going to get the outcome that she got. But once she started hearing those key words that the judge started speaking about, when she started to walk down why she is making the decision that she is making on the verdict, the young girl was able to tap in and understand that, oh, I'm in trouble. And you can see her body language and her fear change. She's actually going to be going to Marysville. That's a prison outside of Columbus State Capitol in Ohio, women's prison that's very rough. He will experience some things she never thought of. But the thing about it is, she took 2 people's lives. Now her life is ruined. Her family's life, the lives of those other 2 family are just destroyed in a manner that will never be prepared. And a lot of times people don't overcome that. I'm praying for all of them that they do. But again, mental health is nothing to play with. I'm out here because I care, y'all. We need to grow this platform. We need to talk about it. We doing grown folks business over here. Watch this video and let's continue in the comments. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do. Purpose and a reason I'm out here. Mental health is serious. And it's time we get real and heal. Take a listen. God's blessings.
This trial is a culmination of decisions made by one person, the defendant. Those decisions have forever altered the futures of 3 families, and of you also, Mackenzie. And your decisions forever robbed Dominic and Davion of the futures that they had before them. If there is one thing that can be taken away from this case, as painful as it is this. Every decision we make is important. Every action we make is important. Regardless of whether the decision is a good one or a bad one, or the actions are good or not, the result is the same. The consequences ripple through time and affect many more people than one might think at the time of the decision. In criminal cases, the state carries the greatest burden under our law, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. As I previously stated, I considered all the evidence presented, and at this point I would like to comment specifically on Exhibit 802, the crash video. This is the type of evidence you can never unsee. You can never forget the visual or audio of this exhibit, which is chilling and tragic. As you review that exhibit, you know that you are watching the oncoming deaths of 2 people, and there is nothing that will stop it. The video clearly shows the purpose and intent of the defendant. She chose a course of death and destruction that day. Exhibit 802 crystallizes the deadly decision-making of the defendant. She morphs from a responsible driver to literal hell on wheels as she makes her way down the street. Mackenzie alone made the decision to drive the car, to drive an obscure route, a route she visited a few days before, and a route not routinely taken by her. Mackenzie alone chose the time to make the drive, early in the morning, when any reasonable person would expect that few people would be nearby to witness it or offer life-saving assistance. She made these decisions despite knowing, as any reasonable person would, that her mission of death could have involved others, not even in the car with her, other people, other cars, pedestrians. She had a mission, and she executed it with precision. The mission was death. Mackenzie alone decided to push the pedal to the floor and demand the ultimate speed of that vehicle to 90 to 100 miles per hour. She alone decided what was to be. Mackenzie decided death was the ultimate goal that day, and she alone made that decision for Dominic and Davion, and she continuously acted in a manner to achieve her purpose. Whether or not she intended to also kill herself is a matter of speculation. They have no relevance to the weighing of the evidence in this case. The totality of the evidence clearly demonstrates that Mackenzie Shirilla acted purposely and intentionally in the early morning hours of July 31st, 2022, and her purpose was to kill Dominic Russo and Davion Flanagan. No reasonable fact finder could view the totality of this evidence in this case and come to any other conclusion. Her actions were controlled, methodical, deliberate, intentional, and purposeful. This was not reckless driving. This was murder. Court renders the following verdicts. Count 1. The court, having had count 1 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02a, is charged in count 1. Count 2. The court, having had count 2 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Davion Flanagan, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02a, is charged in count 2 of the indictment. Count 3. Murder. The court, having had count 3 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Shirilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02b as charged in count 3. Count 4, murder. The court, having had count 4 tried to and pursued, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of murder, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.02b as charged in count 4. Count 5, felonious assault. The court, having had count 5 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of felonious assault, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.11 of the Revised Code, is charged in count 5 of the indictment. Count 6, felonious assault. The court, having had count 6 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of felonious assault, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.11A2, as charged in count 6. Count 7, felonious assault. The court, having had count 7 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of felonious assault, to wit Davion Flanagan, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.11A1, as charged in count 7. Count 8, felonious assault. The court, having had count 8 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of felonious assault, to wit Davion Flanagan, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.11A2, as charged in count 8. Count 9, aggravated vehicular homicide. The court, having had count 9 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of aggravated vehicular homicide, to wit Dominic Russo, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.06A2A, as charged in count 9. Count 10, aggravated vehicular homicide. The court, having had count 10 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of aggravated vehicular homicide, to wit Davion Flanagan, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.06A2A, as charged in count 10. Count 11, drug possession. The court, having had count 11 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of drug possession, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2925.11A, as charged in count 11. Count 12, possessing criminal tools. The court, having had count 12 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of possessing criminal tools, in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2923.24A, as charged in count 12. The court, having had count 12 tried to and pursuant to waiver, finds the defendant, Mackenzie Sherilla, guilty of possessing criminal tools, and further finds the defendant did intend to use a substance, device, instrument, or article, to wit, a digital scale, to commit the offense of a felony. Sentencing will be 1 week from today, August 21st at 1 p.m. If any party wishes to file a sentencing memorandum, it is to be filed by 4 p.m. on Thursday, August 17th. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you, baby.
Love you.